The date is August 19th, 2026. New York City. The city that never sleeps is about to witness something unprecedented. Times Square, the busiest intersection in the world. Millions of eyes, thousands of screens. And in the middle of it all, towering above the crowds, is a face that has taken the tennis world by storm. Alexandra Eala, the 21-year-old Filipina sensation. Nike has just dropped a bombshell that has sent shockwaves through the WTA. Massive billboards featuring Alexandra have appeared in the heart of New York City, promoting the upcoming U.S. Open. Not Carlos Alcaraz, not Jannik Sinner, not Aryna Sabalenka. Alexandra Eala. The tennis world is stunned. Martina Navratilova, the 18-time Grand Slam champion, is speechless. How could a player who has never won a Grand Slam command such a massive campaign? How could a player from the Philippines, a country with no tennis tradition, become the face of Nike's U.S. Open push? This is the story of that shocking moment. This is the story of the billboards that left the tennis world reeling. This is the story of how Alexandra Eala proved that she is not just a tennis player. She is a global phenomenon. Face screaming in fear Philippines. Before the billboards, before the Times Square takeover, before the global attention, there was the rise. And what a rise it had been. Alexandra Eala's journey to becoming one of the most marketable athletes in the world was nothing short of spectacular. She had started the year ranked outside the top 40, a promising young player from a country with virtually no tennis infrastructure. By August 2026, she had climbed to a career-high number 18 in the world. She had won her first WTA Tour singles title in Washington, defeating world number 3 Jessica Pegula in a thrilling rain-delayed final. The victory had made her the first Filipino, man or woman, to win a WTA Tour singles event. Her run in Washington was a fairy tale. She defeated Olympic gold medalist Zheng Qinwen, defending champion Leylah Fernandez, world number 10 Alina Svitolina, and 4-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka en route to the final. Then came the final against Pegula. The match was suspended by rain, but when play resumed, Alexandra won 6 straight games in the final set to secure a 4-6, 6-4, 6-0 victory. The win marked her 7th victory over a top 10 player that season. The Philippines erupted. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. congratulated her. The Senate honored her. Senator Panfilo Lacson called her the country's newest and youngest national hero. But Alexandra didn't stop there. At Wimbledon, she made history once again. She became the first Filipina-seeded player in Grand Slam history, the first Filipina to win a match at Wimbledon, and the first to reach the 3rd and 4th rounds of a major. She defeated defending champion Iga Swiatek on center court 7-6, 11-9, 6-2, a victory that drew reactions from Catherine, Princess of Wales, Billie Jean King, Venus Williams, and her super idol Maria Sharapova. Martina Navratilova and Jim Courier both emphasized that Swiatek's emotional struggles were key to the outcome, with Navratilova noting that Swiatek could not keep it together. The win propelled Alexandra to a new career high ranking. She eventually fell to Jasmine Paolini in the 4th round, but her Wimbledon run had already cemented her status as one of the brightest young stars in tennis. In just a few months, Alexandra had gone from a promising junior to a global phenomenon. She had sold out stadiums in Toronto and Cincinnati. She had become the biggest draw in women's tennis, perhaps in all of tennis. According to industry estimates, she was now targeting approximately $10 million per year in sponsorship income. She had already secured deals with major global brands including Nike, Babolat, Globe Telecom, Bank of the Philippine Islands, Milo Philippines, Locally Juice, and most recently, Marriott Bonvoy. Her commercial potential was reminiscent of the Emma Raducanu effect after her U.S. Open victory in 2021. But Alexandra's reach was even more global. She represented a nation of 115 million people and a massive diaspora spread across the world. The Eala effect was real, and Nike had just witnessed it firsthand. To understand the significance of the billboards, you must first understand the depth of Nike's investment in Alexandra. The sportswear giant had recognized her potential early on and had been building her profile for months. Earlier in the year, Alexandra had visited Nike World headquarters in Oregon, where she was given a hero's welcome. Posters of her big moments lined the walls, highlights of the Sampaguita designed shirt specially made for her, and special edition shoes were on display. It was a sign that Nike saw her as a long-term investment. When Alexandra stepped onto the grass courts of Wimbledon, she wasn't just carrying the hopes of Philippine tennis. She was wrapped in a symbol of cultural pride. Worn in her hair was a Sampaguita, Nike's tribute to the Philippines' national flower. It didn't take long before the image spread. The conversation went far beyond appreciation. It touched on everything from Southeast Asian representation and cultural symbolism to brand authenticity and the evolving role of Asian athletes as storytellers. For sports and marketing experts, the moment marked something bigger than a one-time gift. It was a case study in how to create resonance in a cluttered global market. Nike's commitment to Alexandra was further demonstrated by the release of her own merchandise. A Nike Court Alex Eala tennis t-shirt, priced at $42, was released ahead of the U.S. Open. Within minutes of its release, it was completely sold out. What made this particularly striking was the company Alexandra was keeping. Carlos Alcaraz, Jannik and Aryna Sabalenka's merchandise remained available on Nike's website. The sold-out shirt was proof that the Eala effect was not just real, it was unprecedented. Sports Illustrated noted that Eala is still far away from getting a signature logo, but this is her second merch drop. The demand for her merchandise was a clear signal to Nike that they had a star on their hands. The moment the billboards went up in New York, the tennis world was stunned. Massive Nike billboards featuring Alexandra Eala appeared in the heart of New York City, promoting the upcoming U.S. Open. The Philippines is celebrating as the 21-year-old's global profile reaches new heights. Despite being young and not yet having a Grand Slam title, Alexandra is making waves in Nike's global advertising push. The billboards were strategically placed in high-traffic areas, ensuring maximum visibility. The Philippines, the U.S., and the world were taking notice. The campaign came on the heels of her merchandise line and increasingly visible presence in New York. Alexandra was now a proud Filipino brand ambassador on a global scale. The company was betting big on her, and the tennis world was watching. The billboards were just the latest sign of Alexandra's growing commercial appeal. She also modeled a royal blue Nike Court Slam tennis dress for the New York swing. The dress, priced at $140 in the United States, featured blue and white colorways like the Philippine national teams in basketball, football, and volleyball. It was a tribute to her country, a reminder that she carries the hopes of a nation on her shoulders. The official uniforms also featured the phrases Kung may itinanim, may anahin, as you sow, so shall you reap, and Kapag lumago, hindi nahihinto, never stop flourishing. These phrases, embroidered into the kit, were a powerful symbol of Alexandra's journey, a journey of hard work, resilience, and unwavering belief. When Martina Navratilova saw the billboards, she was stunned. The 18-time Grand Slam champion had been one of Alexandra's biggest admirers, praising her on social media and in interviews. But even she was taken aback by the scale of Nike's campaign. Navratilova had previously offered Alexandra advice on how to improve her game. She had praised her versatility and left-handed play, saying, "She's crafty. She's a good lefty. She uses her variety nicely." But she had also pointed out that Alexandra's serve was an area that could be further developed. "I think where she can improve the most is her serve, or make it pay off more. She needs a bigger serve and bigger kick." She had also noted that Alexandra's slight frame might make it challenging to handle the pace of stronger opponents, but she believed that building more strength could help. Navratilova's reaction to the billboards was one of amazement. She had watched Alexandra's rise from the beginning and had seen her potential, but even she hadn't anticipated the scale of Nike's investment. The billboards were a sign that Alexandra was no longer just a promising young player. She was a global phenomenon. Navratilova's words reflected the sentiment of the entire tennis world. She is building a whole new craze in Southeast Asia and the Philippines, bringing more fans into tennis. The billboards were the culmination of that craze. The billboards sparked an outpouring of emotion from fans around the world. The hashtag Eala Billboards trended worldwide. Fans from the Philippines, the United States, and around the world shared their excitement and pride. "This is incredible," one fan wrote. "A Filipina on a billboard in New York City. This is history." Another fan posted, Alexandra Eala is not just a tennis player. She is a symbol of hope for millions of Filipinos. This is proof that the world recognizes her greatness. The Filipino community was particularly moved. They saw the billboards as a recognition of Alexandra's global impact. This is proof that the whole world is watching Alexandra, one fan wrote. She is not just our pride. She is tennis's pride. Another fan posted, Nike doesn't just put anyone on a billboard in New York. This is a big deal. Alexandra Eala has truly arrived. The billboards were a reminder of how far Alexandra had come. She had started her journey on the cracked courts of Quezon City, with no tennis infrastructure and no tradition of success. Now, she was standing tall in the middle of Times Square, representing the Philippines on the global stage. It was a moment of pure pride for every Filipino around the world. The billboards were just one part of Nike's campaign. Alexandra's kit for the US Open was also designed to make a statement. She unveiled a royal blue Nike Court Slam tennis dress, inspired by a basketball jersey with netted cuts on the sides. The dress, priced at $140, featured blue and white colorways like the Philippine national teams. The official uniforms featured the phrases Kung may itinanim, may anahin, as you sow, so shall you reap, and Kapag lumago, hindi nahihinto, never stop flourishing. These phrases, embroidered into the kit, were a powerful symbol of Alexandra's journey, a journey of hard work, resilience, and unwavering belief. They were also a reminder that she was not just playing for herself, but for an entire nation. The kit was a celebration of her heritage, her country, and her rise. It was another sign that Nike was fully committed to her as one of their global brand ambassadors. With her growing popularity and the success of her merchandise, Nike had every reason to invest in her future. The US Open was the biggest stage of all, and Alexandra was ready to shine. The billboards and the sold-out shirt were part of a broader trend. Alexandra was outselling and outshining some of the biggest names in tennis. Carlos Alcaraz, the two-time Grand Slam champion and former world number one. Jannik, the Australian Open champion and current world number one. Both had massive fan bases, both were global icons, and both were supposed to be the future of the sport. Yet their merchandise remained available on Nike's website. Alexandra's was gone within minutes. The contrast was a stark reminder that the traditional power structure of tennis was shifting. Alcaraz and Sinner were still great players. They were still global stars. But Alexandra was something different. She represented a new market, the Philippines, Southeast Asia, and a massive diaspora spread across the world. She represented a new generation of fans who were hungry for representation, hungry for success, hungry for validation. And they were willing to spend their money to show it. The billboards and the sold-out shirt were a signal to the tennis world. Alexandra was not just another player. She was a phenomenon. She had the ability to move merchandise, sell tickets, and inspire millions. And that made her one of the most valuable athletes in the world. As the Eala effect continued to grow, the tennis world would have to take notice. The old order was changing, and Alexandra was leading the charge. The numbers don't lie. Alexandra's sold-out shirt and billboards were just the latest examples of the Eala effect. According to industry estimates, she was now targeting approximately $10 million per year in sponsorship income. Her matches consistently sold out stadiums. Her social media following had exploded. Her merchandise was flying off the shelves. The Eala effect was real. It was powerful, and it was here to stay. Alexandra had become one of the most marketable athletes in the world. And the billboards in New York were proof of that. She had earned a campaign that even the biggest names in tennis hadn't achieved. It was a signal to the world that the old order was changing. Alexandra was leading the charge. The billboards in New York were not just a victory for Alexandra. They were a victory for Philippine sports. For decades, the Philippines had been overlooked on the world stage. Its athletes had been told that they were too small, too poor, too insignificant to compete with the giants of the world. But Alexandra was changing that narrative. She was showing the world that Filipinos could compete on the global stage. That Filipinos could succeed. That Filipinos could be champions. The billboards were a symbol of that change. They were a reminder that the Philippines was a force to be reckoned with in the world of sports. They were a message to every young Filipino athlete that no dream is too big, no obstacle too great, no challenge too difficult to overcome. And they were a tribute to Alexandra, the young woman who had made it all possible. The billboards in New York were a major milestone for Alexandra, but they were just the beginning. She was set to compete in the U.S. Open, the final Grand Slam of the year. She was projected to be a top 18 seed in the women's singles draw. She was also set to compete in the mixed doubles alongside Canadian star Felix Auger-Aliassime. The U.S. Open was the biggest stage of all. It was the tournament where champions were made. It was the tournament where legends were born. And Alexandra was ready. She had said, "I focus only on my level of play. The ultimate goal is to win." With the support of Nike, the love of a nation, and the momentum of her billboards, she was poised to make history once again. But the future was about more than just tennis. Alexandra had the potential to become one of the highest-earning female athletes in the world. Her commercial appeal was undeniable. She had the talent, the personality, and the global fan base to become a marketing powerhouse. The billboards in New York were just the beginning. The billboards in New York were more than just advertisements. They were a symbol of everything Alexandra had achieved and everything she had the potential to achieve. They were a recognition of her talent, her hard work, and her global appeal. They were a testament to the power of the Eala effect. Alexandra's journey from the cracked courts of Quezon City to the bright lights of Times Square had been nothing short of miraculous. She had overcome challenges that would have broken lesser players. She had faced injuries, setbacks, and doubts. She had remained humble, grounded, and grateful. And she had inspired millions of Filipinos around the world to dream big. The billboards were a reflection of that journey. They were a recognition that Alexandra was not just a tennis player. She was a movement, a symbol of hope, a reminder that no dream is too big, no obstacle too great, no challenge too difficult to overcome. The tennis world was watching. The fans were believing. And Alexandra Eala was just getting started.